Welcome back, everybody. It is week 3. We are entering unit 3, and I'm going to walk us through the week as usual. Let me share the course screen. And just as a reminder, don't forget to always check the announcements. If you have not watched any videos that I post, make sure that you do that. I do put some extra materials and some extra helpful tools and tips in the announcements throughout the week. Of course, I consider Monday the most important one with the weekly walkthrough. But I've got, for example, some information that I posted on Thursday about accessing your grading feedback. And it's a video that shows you on the screen. So those things are really helpful. Sometimes we get a little bit lost clicking around and trying to figure out where to find things. So I will be continuing to give you some additional help with that kind of stuff as we go throughout the course. But we are going into unit 3, and we're focusing a little bit more intensely on some of the qualities of academic writing, including writing good thesis statements. Most of you have heard that term before. Many times I used to hear it as a student that I didn't have one. So they are not easy, but they are so necessary. And once you get in a good habit of doing a thesis statement, I promise you it becomes easier and easier and easier. We're, of course, using research. And so plagiarism or potential plagiarism, sometimes accidental, sometimes on purpose, can be a big problem at college in general, but specifically, of course, in writing classes, because plagiarism would be copying someone else's writing. Accidental plagiarism is just where you are thinking that you're doing it right, but you're not completely citing your sources. So that's something we really started working on last week, because you had the article that was provided for you. You included at least one quotation from that article in your paragraph, and you cited it with both an in-text citation and, of course, the entry on the references page. Those two pieces are what is required to cite sources. So you can never have a research paper that doesn't have any little parenthetical in-text citations, because if so, something's gone wrong. You can also not have a research paper that doesn't have a references page. So both of those pieces have to be in place. And the hardest one, to be brutally honest, the hardest one are the in-text citations. Most people know they have to have a bibliography at the end, or a references list, or if you've ever used MLA, they call it a works cited page. Most people understand that they have to have a list of the sources that they've used. Where it gets confusing sometimes is how to cite it within the document itself. So last week you practiced that with a quote. This week, you're going to practice that with using paraphrased or summarized information, because yes, even if you take something and put it in your own words, it still has to be cited with that in-text citation. And then the in-text citation is just a little bit of shorthand that refers people back to the references page. So that's where we are talking about thesis statements, plagiarism, and citing sources. So as usual, you will want to go through the readings and resources. You have sections on developing the thesis statement, how to avoid plagiarism. So 2 major sections. There's multiple readings and activities within those. So just be sure that you do all of the readings and resources before you attempt the assignments that are going to be graded. There are 2, as always. This week, you do not have a paragraph to write. You have a test, or a knowledge check, that is a 10-question test. This is the first one that you've had so far. There's only 2 total in the course, but if on weeks that we do not have a formal writing assignment, you have what's called a knowledge check. The good news about knowledge checks is you can take them multiple times. So if you don't do as well as you want on the first time, you can take it again. But if you try to take it without having read the assignment stuff, it's going to be a lot harder. So I promise you, do it in the order that it comes. The Unit 3 discussion board, some people have already gotten started with, which is absolutely fine, is helping us think about and talk about plagiarism a little bit more. So the initial post, the one that you want to have up by Wednesday night, is where you'll write your own well-developed paragraph or two about this scenario. You've been working for a fairly well-established investment firm for the last 4 months. You and a coworker were both assigned to write a report on the same startup business to determine if you should invest in it. Your coworker asked to see your report to verify some data. The next day, you and your coworker hand in the same report. So how would you feel in that situation? How would you deal with that type of plagiarism in the workplace? And then, and this is a toughie, how should the boss handle the situation? And then as you respond to others, so again, your initial post should be up by Wednesday night, and then you have until the following Sunday to respond to at least 2 other classmates or me or both or all of the above. And when you're thinking about those responses, they still need to be, I always encourage people, aim for 3 to 5 sentences in those responses to others, and more like 7 to 9 sentences in your own response. This is going to help you get good grades on discussions, but it's also going to help you really develop your thoughts. So in your responses to others, consider what other possible scenarios of plagiarism might come up in the workplace. How important do you think it is, considering why do I don't know if I didn't get to word that question. So please again, how important do you think considering plagiarism is in the workplace? A lot of people don't think plagiarism applies outside of school. So that's really, this discussion is going to help us think about that, because it really does apply outside of school. In fact, you've probably heard of some of the plagiarism lawsuits that happen in the music world, especially. So that's what we're talking about here. That's what we're thinking about this week, is how plagiarism applies when we're not talking just about school. All right. So look for your feedback on the last discussion board and your supported paragraphs. This is a really important one. The Unit 2 writing assignment is a really important one to review that feedback carefully, because it's the first time you are using those in-text citations and reference page. And so it doesn't come easily. It doesn't come naturally to most people. So please, please, please make sure that you do go over your feedback and send me any questions that you have regarding your feedback by email. All right. So I hope everybody is having a good Unit 3 so far. Happy Monday. Enjoy your week and be on the lookout for another post sometime this week that should help you with your assignments. So everybody take care. Have a great week. And please let me know if you need anything.